Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Take Shape for Life Habits of Health support call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life, and it is my pleasure to host this call for you this evening. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, and I know for some of you this is the first one, a special welcome to you. This call is for all Take Shape for Life clients and coaches and health professionals. So this evening you might hear questions and comments from all of the above. And if you don't fit in one of those categories and are simply interested in learning more about our program or how to create better health, you are warmly welcome to, and we are really glad you're here. So you might hear content tonight that's geared towards those that are in the weight loss phase of their health journey, those that are in transition, or maybe something that's geared towards those that are in the optimization phase, meaning they're moving towards a lifetime of optimal health and ultra health. And what a lot of you already know is that Take Shape for Life offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we have a lot to offer for anyone who's looking for better health in any areas of their lives. So if you're in the weight loss phase now, maybe you're on our 5-in-1 structured meal plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you and guided as you are guided by your free health coach. And for those of you that are listening to the podcast or the recording later, we are so glad you've taken the time to join us. We invite you to be joining us live next time for the discussion. These Habits of Health support calls are held every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can join us for the live video conference at zoom.us/my/TSFL Habits of Health. Kind of easy, isn't it? So we may have some time at the end, if I'm not too long-winded, for a little bit of interaction. But for right now, we'll go ahead and get into our topic for this evening. And again, thanks for taking the time to join us. So what we're going to be talking about this evening is what to do when you get derailed. Meaning, in other words, what we'll be covering is some easy and practical tips to help you get back on track, going full steam ahead if maybe you've gotten a little bit off track on your health journey. Now, you guys all know what it means when a train gets off its tracks. And you know that that's not real effective for the train getting to where it wants to go. And you also know, too, that sometimes that happens in the health journey, too. Life is like that. Life gets a little bumpy sometimes, and sometimes you get a little off track. And the important thing is not so much that you've gotten derailed, but how do you get back on and get on track again? So I know just glancing over this room, there's a lot of familiar faces in here, but a lot of faces that I haven't met yet. And at the end of the call, if we have time, I'd love to have some time to interact with you all about maybe a time in your life that you got derailed and how you got back on track again. We'd love to be able to hear from you if I'm not too long-winded. We'll have to see how that goes. So what I want you to do first is to think back to the day that you started on your health journey. Now, for some of you, that's been years. I mean, for me, it's been, goodness, it's been over 5 years since I made the decision to get healthy. And I'd like you to think back to what it was like then and how you felt. Now, you might have been a little scared, a little nervous, probably a little excited, okay? But as you went along, my hunch is for most of you, you were kind of like that little engine that could, you know the story from childhood, right? That little engine that could, that's like said, okay, I know it's a tough mountain to go over, but I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, right? And I'm going to be referring back to that little engine that could in with our little derailed analogy here. But think back to when you first started, the very first week. What did you do? Okay, you probably were in regular conversations with your health coach. How cool is it that with our program you get a free health coach? Gotta love that, right? You were probably plugging into support. You were probably reading your Habits of Health book. Okay, we use this kind of as the core for what we do. You were probably listening to the support calls like you're doing tonight. You were maybe talking with other healthy friends. You were probably excitedly celebrating your successes. I mean, I love it. You know, we coach a lot of clients, and I've had the privilege of helping a lot of people to health over the years. But I just never get tired of it when somebody calls me that first week and they're saying, oh my goodness, Shirley, I'm down 2 pounds already. I'm so excited. You know, you gotta love that. And celebrating those successes help to reinforce the success, don't they? You may have been dreaming about life would be like, what it would be like when you got to your first destination on the journey. maybe like me, you had a lot to lose. And so you were looking for when you lost the first 25 pounds, okay? Or the first time you could get into the next size smaller jeans, okay? But what happens is over time is that what really excites us can become very routine. Habits can become routine, and that's actually it can be a good thing. But what can happen is that in the dailiness, we kind of lose focus of what our daily intentions used to be. And what happens sometimes then is that before you quite know what's happened, you might discover that your little train has gotten off track. And if that's ever happened to you, you don't have to raise your hand or anything. You could just blink. We'll all know. We've all been there one time or another. And I know that there's been times that I've found that those new habits of health had actually slipped back into some of the old habits of disease if I wasn't careful. Maybe, all of a sudden I started over time, I wasn't drinking enough water, or I was sitting more than I was walking, or maybe I put on a couple unwanted pounds, and it wasn't quite going the way I wanted to. Now, when that happens, you get a choice, okay? So what if when our little engine if he got off track, what if he had responded by saying, oh, I knew it. I'm just too small of an engine. I couldn't possibly do this. I knew you wouldn't be able to do that. Okay. Or play along with me here. I know it's a little laughable, but what would if he said, okay, I know I'm off track, but I can fix this all by myself. Can a train get themselves back on track alone? No, they can't. And when you get off track, you need help too. But often we kind of pull back and say, no, I'm going to fix this all by myself at the very time when we need help. Or what if instead of pushing on, at that point, our little engine said, I'm just going to give up. I'm off track. Can't do it. I'm done. The story would have ended very differently, right? And it's kind of crazy to think about it. We laugh about it now, but a lot of us do that. I know I've been tempted to do that, to say, oh, I messed up. I'm just going to quit, which is kind of crazy, isn't it? Especially when you have a goal that's really important to you. So let's think through what's a better way to respond. Okay, again, the issue is not so much did I get off track, but can I learn how to respond to this in a really healthy way that's going to help me get to what I want? So, first of all, actually, what I'm going to refer to in this, in fact, I'm going to open the book and read it because Dr. A says it better than I do. I'm going to be referring to Dr. A's Habits of Health. Now, those of you who are clients, you've been on our program, this is what we refer to all the time. Dr. A is Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. He is our co-founder and medical director. He's a board-certified critical care physician, and he is passionate about helping this country get healthy. And he has written the book that is the core of our program, teaching people the long-term healthy habits. And if you think way back to the beginning, back when you first cracked open the book and you were way back in chapter 3, okay? And in there, Dr. A was talking about the motivations for change and looking at why you want to change. Because a lot of us, we change based on a problem. Oh my goodness, my size 16 jeans are just way too tight. Okay, that's a problem, right? And then we find that motivation almost never leads to lasting change, because when my size 16 jeans are now getting loose enough that they aren't tight, I've now kind of lost my motivation, haven't I? And so what he went on to say in the Habits of Health book is that, when that discomfort is relieved, the desire to change goes away. Conflict-driven motivation, he says, is one of the major reasons that people yo-yo. That whole lose 2 pounds, gain 2 pounds, back and forth, or lose 20, gain 30, whatever it is. And I know that had been my story. Some of you aren't, some of you we're just meeting for the first time, and it's probably useful for you to know a little bit of my story. When I came to Take Shape for Life, my health was really in a very desperate place. I weighed close to 400 pounds, and my physician said, you've got to take a look at this program. And I started very much with a problem-focused orientation. My health was terrible. You can imagine. I was not yet 50, but I had the health of someone much, much older than that because of really bad choices I'd made with my health. And so I came into this wanting to fix those problems. But I very soon realized, wow, this program is actually going to help me It's going to help me get what I want. And so I started focusing on what I wanted. What I wanted very much was to have a life that I hadn't had for a long time. I wanted to be able to ride roller coasters. I wanted to be able to go swing dancing with my sons. I wanted to be able to travel with my husband. And I focused in on what I wanted. I wanted long-term health. And so as a result of that, and because of the support, because of the Habits of Health system, I have not only lost 215 pounds, but I'm also not afraid that the weight's ever coming back. And part of the key for that for me is because I am focused in on what I really want. What I desperately want is long-term optimal health. And I'm going to keep making the daily choices to get there. So when you start, when you start this journey focused on what you don't want, it gets a little tough because, and here's what Dr. A says about this, because he says, oh, good gracious, I'm the age, I'm going to have to get my glasses out now. But he said, emotional, and if I sound really smart, it's because I'm reading it right out of the book. If you're trying to follow along, it's page 19 at the bottom. But he says, emotional conflict leads you to act. Okay, those size 16 jeans, they're too tight. You're really frustrated about that, okay? You decide to act. And because you're acting and taking actions, you feel better, even if the situation hasn't changed very much. Feeling better takes the pressure off, lessens the emotional conflict. Less emotional conflict means there's less reason to continue doing the things that created the conflict in the first place. Once you feel better, those jeans start to fit, you no longer feel a pressing need to follow through on your actions, and the original behavior returns. And then the next thing you know, those size 16 jeans are way too tight again, all right? Check out this chapter. It's really, really good, okay? Chapter 3 in your Habits of Health book. Actually, the rest of the chapters are really good too, but I think you'll find that to be helpful if that's something you're struggling with. And so when you can shift to an outcome orientation, saying, look, I want to create long-term health, and here's why, you get a much more powerful motivation. Your health coach can help you with this. For those of you that have not yet been introduced to our program, if you don't have a health coach yet, talk to the person who invited you to be on this call. They would be happy to help you with that and help you look through the things that are important to you and help you create a program that's going to help you reach goals that are important to you. So back to our little derailed train. Okay, we're starting to look at better ways to respond. Here's the other thing too. You know how I said sometimes when we get stuck, we'll start kind of beating ourselves up and we'll say, that's it, I'll take care of this on my own. It never ever works, okay? Lifestyle change, when you're trying to create lifestyle change, it almost never happens in a vacuum. You need support. And I've had people already who have said to me, well, I'll call my coach when I get my act together. Okay, well, good gracious, if that's what our little engine that could did, he'd still be back on the side of the tracks, okay? Your coach is there to help you, and your coach longs to help you. There is just no judgment involved. So I know when I have a client who calls me up and says, I'm getting stuck, I'm having a problem, I love it because I know I can help them. But if they don't call me, there's not much I can do to help, right? Because I don't know that they're having a problem. So share with your coach what your goals are. Remembering that if you're going to really create effective long-term lifestyle change, that optimal health community, your health coach, your other healthy friends, the support system that we create for you here with Take Shape for Life, those are all going to be really critically important for you. And set up regular accountability. Make sure you're talking with your health coach every week. If you haven't picked up the phone and talked to your health coach in a while, this week is a really good time to start. And if you haven't talked with your coach in a while, call up your coach and say, hey, it's me, your long-lost client. I'd really love to have some more support. And I love it when my clients ask me, am I doing everything I can do to ensure my success? Write that one down. Your coach will love it if you ask that question, okay? Call them up, tell them Shirley said I should ask you, am I doing everything I possibly can do to ensure my success? Okay, I love that question because I know how I can help my clients, but I don't know that they're always ready to have that information, okay? And when I know they're ready to learn more, I'm very eager to pour into them and support them in every way that I can, and I know your health coach will feel the same way. Okay, here's another thing you can do if you're getting a little derailed. If you're working on getting back on plan and you're saying, okay, I've gotten unfocused on whatever your goal was, whether it's healthy eating or weight loss or healthy activity, maybe you're working on healthy sleep goals. If you've gotten off track, focus as though it was your first day. Journal about what you want to do. Journal about what your daily actions are. If you're working on your eating, log your water, log your meals. Make sure that you're getting all of those meals in, all of the water in. Read your Habits of Health book every day. I mean, not the whole book, okay? But maybe read 15, 20 minutes a day. It'll really help to keep your head on track. And if you do it at the beginning of the day, I think you'll find it'll kind of set the tone for the whole day for you. Listen to the support calls. Now, I realize I'm preaching to the choir. You are all listening to a support call right now. But if you're getting stuck, plug into more of those. Did you know that the support calls are now available on podcast? Now, for some of you, podcasts are a new thing, okay? But I'm telling you, I found these to be really a great way to get more support. So I can download those little podcasts. I can listen to those while I'm walking the dog. I can listen to that while I have if I've got a nice 30-minute drive to go someplace. And for those of us that are past 50, like me, you can find your favorite teenager in your life and say, hey, teach me how to use podcasts. They're really very easy, but it's a great way to stay plugged in. We've got virtual support videos. Ask your coach about those. Say, hey, where do I find more support? Be sure to attend events. Maybe your coach is hosting an event in the area where they're, explaining more about what we can offer in full trilogy with our program. Maybe you have an opportunity to, maybe you got an opportunity to come to National Convention. Actually, I would suggest make an opportunity to come to National Convention. Our National Convention is held in July this year in Austin, Texas, and anyone who is listening to this call is welcome. You do not need to be a health coach. Attending conventions, one of the best things you can do to reinforce your own health journey, because you're going to be together with thousands of other people who are just as committed to health as you are, and you'll love the environment. So make plans to come. Ask your health coach about that, or you can go to tsflnationalconvention.com. One of the coaches in the room, text me if I'm wrong about that. I'm pretty sure that's correct. And another thing you can do if you're really trying to get back on plan and get focused is ask yourself, what would a really healthy person do in this situation? And then do it, okay? So if you're going out to dinner, what would a really healthy person do in this situation? Well, they would order things that were healthy. They probably would not have the glass of wine. They would definitely skip dessert, right? Okay. What would a really healthy person do when they go to the movies? Well, they would enjoy the movies. They would not get the huge tub of popcorn, right? Okay. Those can be just little tricks to kind of, help your brain think about getting healthy in a different way. When you get stuck or get derailed, tell yourself what's true. I find that when I used to fail, well, I still do, but when I would fail in the past, I would tell myself things that weren't true, okay? An off-plan day does not make you a bad person, okay? I've had people that have said, oh, I was really bad today. I ate whatever it was. No, you weren't bad. You might have made some bad choices, okay? Doesn't make you a bad person. You just kind of goofed today. Everybody goofs. The important thing is, what do you do after that? Be careful about how you think about what you're doing. So you could say, oh, I can't eat that piece of cake, which is kind of I don't know, the way victim talks, I can't do that. Well, sure you can. You can eat cake. It just won't help you get to your goals, okay? But if instead you say, I'm choosing to eat healthy foods, it's a much more empowering thing, and it also is true. Remind yourself, too, that if you gain weight, that's not the same as failure. If you don't make the choices that are as healthy as you'd like them to be, that's not the same as failure. You only fail if you quit. Those who mess up but keep coming back and keep re-engaging and keep moving forward, those are the ones who long-term are successful. Okay, I didn't lose my 215 pounds by being perfect. Those of you that know me well know that I'm almost never perfect, but I keep moving forward, because when it comes to our health, it is a journey. It is not a destination. We're never as healthy as we want to be, right? And so you just keep moving forward towards that goal. Remember, too, on this journey that perfect practice makes perfect. Okay, not just practice makes perfect, but perfect practice makes perfect. So keep on practicing those healthy habits. If you make a decision that you're not happy with, immediately refocus and move forward. Okay, don't fall into the trap of saying, well, next Monday I'll start again. No, right now. Okay, you messed up. Okay, right now, get back on track and move forward. Because when you do that, you don't have to worry about a bad hour turning into a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, okay? You can immediately refocus and move forward, because the longer you wait to correct your own behavior, the harder it is to correct. And did I mention before that your health coach can help you with this? They will be an immense help to you in this process. So anytime you're getting stuck, best thing to do, pick up the phone, call your coach, text your coach, however it is you get in touch with your coach, because they'll be a big help in the process. Now, as you go along, be sure to notice and celebrate your successes. You did that the first couple of weeks on your program. I am certain of it. You were bouncing up and down every time you were losing another 2 pounds, right? And what happens is when you celebrate those successes, you tend to reinforce them. Journaling will help you recognize those successes. Sometimes when I'm working on a particular goal, I will journal very clearly about what my life is like now and what I would like it to be like. Because what happens is 3 or 4 months down the road, I don't even quite realize how much progress I've made, because I've changed so much from who I was here to who I am now. But when I look back at my journal, I can remember what those struggles were like back when I first started, and the journaling can be really helpful. Be sure to celebrate all of your successes, even small ones, okay? So you went out to dinner, you made some healthy choices, you didn't eat dessert. Yay for you, okay? You didn't lose 15 pounds today, but man, you did create a good success, right? Okay, and keep celebrating those small successes. And recognize milestones too, okay? When you lose the first 25 pounds, or when you get into the smaller pair of jeans, find a reward. Now, not a food reward, okay? That would be sort of counterintuitive, right? Okay, but I'll tell you, this ring on this finger, this was the one that I got when I got under 200 pounds. It was a pretty exciting day. I never thought it was possible for me to weigh under 200 pounds. So when I saw 199 on the scale, I was out to go buy a ring to commemorate it. It's a ring that I always wear. It helps me remember who I am and what I've accomplished. And it tends to reinforce other successes. And keep reminding yourself of how far you've come. Sometimes it can be easy to keep looking forward at how much you have to achieve. Occasionally look over your shoulder and remind yourself who you were a year ago, who you were 5 years ago, who you were a week ago. Okay, some of you are making really, really significant changes. Remind yourself of the progress that you're making. Again, your health coach can give you some clarity on that. And another thing you can do to help ensure your long-term success is you may want to consider helping others by paying it forward. Did you know that coaches are much more likely to keep their weight off long-term? That's exactly why I started coaching. I knew this program would help me get healthy. I wasn't sure how it was going to stay off. I know now how it's staying off. But I also know that health coaching has really been an important part of my long-term success. So, and if you think about it, it makes sense. Every day I'm talking about good health, right? Every day I'm encouraging people on their health goals. It encourages me on mine. So I don't know if coaching is anything you've ever considered, but if you haven't, think about how much fun that could be. You know how much, you've probably seen enough of health coaches to be able to tell that we're having a pretty good time. A lot of us are doing this. I mean, there's quite a few of us that are doing this full time. My husband and I are doing this full time. It gives us a lot of freedom. It gives us a lot of flexibility. I have time to spoil my granddaughter whenever I want to. It lets me build my life around the things that matter most to me, while also reinforcing my own health goals as I'm kind of building this community of healthy people around me. So talk it over with your health coach. If it's something you'd like to explore more, I know that your coach would love to talk with you more about that. So I hope that gave you some good tips on how you might keep yourself on track, or if you've gotten off track, how you could get yourself on. Now, here's where we get to the personal, the interactive time, okay? I got done early enough that we actually have a few minutes here to share. If you go to the bottom of your screen where it says participants, you can see right now there's a little number there. If you click on that, a little window will come up, and on there, there'll be a little button that'll say raise hand. And if you raise your hand, I'll see that, and I can call on you. We can unmute you. And I'd love to hear from you guys on either some successes you're seeing in your health journey, or maybe you'd like to share about a time when you got derailed and how you got back on. So again, to do that, what you do is go down to where it says participants, click on that, little window pops up, and you click the little one that says raise hand. All right? Or maybe you'd like to share just a little bit of your story, you know, maybe what brought you to Take Shape for Life and the success you've had so far. All right, here we go. There's a hand raised. Cliff, can you unmute Linda? Cliff's working on that. Or Linda, if you know how, you can unmute yourself. Are you finding her, Cliff? Hang on a second. One moment.
She's unmuted, so go ahead, Linda.
Okay, go ahead, Linda. You can talk. I know you said your camera isn't working, but that's okay.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh!
How cool is that?
Yay! I didn't know that. I thought I had to plug my webcam in.
So what would you like to share with us tonight?
Here's an NSV. Well, I'm actually derailed this week. I've been about a year. I joined a health challenge a year ago, and you're looking at me like you can see me. You can't, can you?
I can't actually.
That's freaky.
How cool is that?
I love it. I love it. Anyway, so I lost 13 pounds, and then on May the 12th, I started Take Shape for Life. And so total, I have a little bit over 60 pounds gone now, and wonderful. I'm so excited about it. I have maybe 10 more to go ish. However, I have fibromyalgia, and this past week I had a massive flare up, pain like I've never felt in my life. It was the most horrific, horrible experience. And so went to the doctor, and he gave me some different drugs, and we're trying to just kill the pain. And I got on the scale this week. I weigh in on Tuesdays, and yesterday, Tuesday, compared to last Tuesday, I was up 5.5 pounds in 1 week. And so I'm going to get on the doctor's call after this and run the names of the drugs by them and see if any of them are ones that put weight on you. But I'm completely derailed at this point. And I had been already kind of doing the late night munchy thing because of stress and whatnot. I'm trying to just get to the point. But so this was really encouraging to me to go back and focus. You said to focus on it as if it's day one again, and get all excited about it again. And so I'm going to do that. I do journal every day, but I'm going to make more details. And I think read my book like that, not the whole book every day.
Weren't you relieved to know that you didn't have to read the whole book every day? You know, when you get off the phone and say, go call your coach and say, Shirley said I have to read my whole Habits of Health book every day.
Every day.
But you know what, Linda, just for a little perspective on this, and you know, I'm not your health coach, so your health coach is probably going to be a better resource on this. Mm-hmm. But honestly, when you look at what you've had to face here recently with your health, the fact that you had a small weight gain with that, keep that all in perspective. You know, I realize that a 5-pound gain is really frustrating.
Especially when you're so close to your goal.
Absolutely. And I think actually getting on the doctor's call afterwards may be helpful just for a little perspective from a medical point of view. But to also remember that this is on your journey, this is a little bump. I mean, I realize I'm not trying to belittle your week. You had a very, very difficult week, okay? Mm-hmm. But in the great scheme of things, when you look back on this a year later, when you get yourself through this season, get yourself feeling better, you have learned so much over the past months, and you have achieved so much. Remember how I said that whole thing about look over your shoulder occasionally and remember where you came from? 60 pounds?
Yes. Oh,
60 pounds, honey, is fabulous progress. Congratulations.
If I hadn't made that decision that day to start on the challenge, I would be even bigger than I was then, you know?
Exactly.
If I lost, I would have gained, and it would just, I'm so thankful. So thankful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I keep that in mind. I've got one other hand here yet. I'm going to grab one more yet here, if that's okay. But Linda, congratulations on your success. I'm sorry for your past week, but
Okay, though.
in the great scheme of things, girl, you are totally rocking this. Hey, I have here, Temmie has her hand, her, I don't know who Temmie is. Sorry. I just unmuted you. Oh, there you are. I see you. How are you?
Good, thanks. So I've been on the program since the end of July. I have lost at this point almost 50 pounds.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for it and continuing to lose. A few weeks ago, I went to Israel and I was there for a couple of weeks and I was completely derailed, just being in a different schedule where everything was just off.
Yeah.
I was very much derailed. I came back feeling like just disgusted with myself and gross. Then I got back on program, and then I think it was maybe a week later or maybe less than a week, I had a tough weekend and ended up off program again. I'm once again back on, but I feel like, I guess because I was off for like a couple of weeks, that it wasn't so easy for me to get back to it because I'm going through the whole, I guess, detox, if you want to call it again. But yeah, I'm determined that I'm gonna be back on track. I mean, I am, but to continue that way and not let anything stop me.
Yeah. Well, I think that mind focus, I mean, the focus that I'm hearing from you is great. And you're right. Getting yourself back on track again is not particularly easy at first, which is why we always say, get in tight with your coach.
Yeah.
Plug into as much support as possible. You're right about kind of like when you've been eating foods that aren't so good for you, and then you go to start eating healthy, your body kind of rebels against that just for a little bit, and then it gets real happy real soon about eating healthy. Right. But the brain sort of has to rebel a bit. The brain will kind of fight that too. Mm-hmm. It knows, wow, I've been kind of goofing off and doing whatever I felt like the last couple of weeks, and now I have to be disciplined again.
Right.
But you know from experience how good it feels when you are disciplined.
Yes.
Sure. And so when you can focus back in on, okay, now why do I want to eat healthy? Why do I want long-term health? It makes it so much easier. So know that we're all rooting for you, girl.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for sharing your story, because I think there's a lot of people that can relate to that. It's life happens. Like Linda with her fibromyalgia, you have health issues that come up. You travel. I mean, traveling is fun, okay, but it's a change in the routine. Mm-hmm. And what matters is, okay, now that little season's done. Now, what am I going to do going forward?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your story. I appreciate that. Hey, we're running just a little bit long, folks, so we better wind this down. I know some of you are eager to get onto the doctor's call. The doctor's call follows this one immediately. And if you're trying to access that, the number is 712-832-8330 and enter PIN 4366777. You got that? Or you can check your coach's website and they can give you that information. Be sure to join us next week. The Zoom link is the same every week. We will be back here again with a different host at 8 o'clock Eastern next Wednesday evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. Have a great evening and a healthy week.